Alright, so what you just saw was me recreating the sound of the Warthog exploding in Halo 3. And I have a couple of different things going on there. You obviously saw me smashing a bunch of debris in that video. And here I've got that broken down into a couple of primary dubs that I made uh, to break down the individual elements. I've got everything broken down into a bunch of individual elements so that if I were to take this project or import these sounds into Wise, I'd have a bunch of different options for doing that. I would normally work in Pro Tools, but I've been tooling around with Nuendo and its interconnectivity with Wise lately, which is really kind of a blast, where I can just click on stuff and export events right to Wise. I guess that's a shameless plug for Steinberg. I hope I hope they enjoy the free advertisement. But here's our metals. I'll play the video for you as well instead of just using the Audition tool. So we'll solo this. Here's our primary explosion for the metals. And this next one will be our secondary explosion for the metals. Oh, pressing too many buttons. Quite like that one. Here's our glass. You're hearing a bit of reverb there from our combustion sound. Glass for the secondary explosion. And here's that combustion sound. And one sound that's not here in these dubs, because I didn't have to dub it down into something a little bit more easy to manage, is this impact sound to create the sound of the overpressure wave from the explosion. This is actually a metal locker that I did some damage to in a soundstage about 1.5 years ago. And here's the secondary one with a little bit of metal rattling. This is actually a fun technique where I had this metal locker set up on a furniture dolly, and I noticed that when I smacked this wooden railing in the soundstage, it was a big wooden railing, the metal locker resonated in a sympathetic vibration with it. So you get an initial transient that's softer from me smacking that big chunk of wood, and the tail of that is the locker resonating to kind of create an interesting sort of boom, but like a very interesting natural plate reverb. And let me just audition some of these sounds by themselves for you. Here's that metal locker again. I really love this one. That was a blast of a recording session. And here's our rebar, aluminum, a little bit of our walk. It's mixed pretty low in here. There's some fun debris sounds in there. Here's our glass being smashed. And some smaller glass pieces being smashed. That impact again. The combustion sound, I took that recording of the matches and did a bunch of stuff to that, where there's a lot of pitching things up, pitching things down, creating some duplicates, reversing things, chopping them up, just to create more of a larger sound with more depth to it. And then I tossed in some little pieces of glass breaking here and there to just want to be little sprinkles on the top of the sonic cake that is that sound. I wanted something a little bit different than just a typical bonfire burning sound that would have the sounds of wood popping and cracking as little chunks of sap sort of ignite, or pockets of air within the wood burst. That's not something that would be happening with this up here. There'd be stuff that's highly flammable or highly combustible burning. So the highly flammable material on the tip of a match seemed like it would work to me, so I tied a bunch of them together and tried doing something with that. I created a bit of a low rumble using Serum to add a little bit of interesting sounds to this as well. Let's see if you can hear it. It's not the loudest sound, especially when it's mixed down in the mix. There we go. I'm Travis Devin, and this was just a quick sneak peek of some of my sound design. But that's that. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll play that video for you once more at the end of this.